just make sure you have some supportive, strong people in your circle. You know what I mean? Because it makes all the difference. You can't do everything alone.
Yeah.
You know, and you just need, to have that support, and and it's important. And without that, it's just, you just need that family, that close circle. You just need to find your circle and that support and you'll be fine.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here at Neighborhood Loans, and we're back with another episode of Cafecito Talks, and we have a very, very, very important episode because you guys are going to get the background on who I am with my team members. So you guys are going to get the little journey on the day ins and day outs and working with Justin Rodriguez and a part of our team with the Rodriguez Residential Group. And I wanted to do this podcast because, again, I would not be able to go through the day ins and day outs of the journey in the mortgage industry without my team. And it is super hard on a daily basis. I bet with my team members, I call them every single day. Every time I'm with people, they're like, Justin, stop calling them. You're probably bothering them. And I'm like, yeah, I probably am. So again, thank you guys. I introduced Stephanie and me, Martina. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we do appreciate it.
Having us.
Of course. And I want to start introducing both. First, Stephanie, she is my processor. Okay, she is my right hand. Okay, so whenever you're getting documents in the home buying process, she is going to be the one there collecting everything. And this is me, Martina. She is our kind of like an in-house underwriter. She helps us with any loan questions that we typically have during the home buy process. And if it is a difficult file, you best believe she's probably going to be the first one that gets a phone call. So again, thank you guys for joining. And Stephanie, if you don't mind, by starting on giving a little background on who you are, how you got to Neighborhood Loans, and just overall everything in your journey.
Yes. Okay. Well, I've been with Neighborhood Loans now for about 5 years. Yeah. Been in the processing for quite some time, actually. Been all over the departments, but back to processing maybe for the last couple of years, and working with you, Justin, really getting back in the swing of things for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I remember at one point you were underwriter, right? You were underwriter here.
For a little while, but that all went down. That all went to the back burner. Yeah.
You like processing better?
I wouldn't say I like it more. It's different. It really is different.
A lot different,
yeah, it's difficult. I mean, as any department, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy my career for sure. Yeah.
Pretty much, I drive her crazy. That's what she just said.
In so many words.
All right, Martina, your journey. How did you end up at Neighborhood Loans? What's your background?
Same way you ended up at Neighborhood Loans.
Dwight.
It's Dwight's fault. No, I'm the new kid on the block. I've been here just a little bit over a year, but underwriting for over 20. My entire career in underwriting was with Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Now I continue my career here. And I processed before, so I know, I processed before.
The struggles.
Yes, it's hard.
Officers blowing you up.
I enjoyed it, but then, you get to the point where you want to do something else.
Yeah.
It's like you want to keep, moving. And I like underwriting. I like problem solving, so this is where I'm going to stay.
No, for sure. I think there's different sides to the story. Processing is definitely I think, if anything, you would understand more of like the perspective of having people that you work with and having to, put a smile on your face every single day. Like, yeah, Justin, rush. Yes, I'm sending it right now. Of course, anything for you.
Anything, I'm on it.
But that's kind of how we are on a daily basis when we have referral partners, clients, people calling you over, and you're like, yeah, sending numbers right now. But there are times you got family problems, you got your own problems, you got life, and sometimes you want to put a smile on your face. And me, Martina, you too. I know you probably got hundreds of LOs hitting you up on a daily basis. So what do you guys think is your biggest struggle being in the industry, being that, it is a difficult job for everybody in this industry? It's like fast paced. Everyone says it's not brain surgery, but of course it makes you feel it's brain. But even though they say it's not, they treat it like it is. So what do you guys think your biggest struggle overall on the course of your career, kind of understanding in the career path that you did in this industry? What do you feel like it might be?
I feel like the biggest struggle all the time. I know right now because of the market it is, but we've been in a different market, very, very busy. The biggest struggle is everybody wants everything done like now or yesterday, right? And you want to be able to do that, but there's only, so many hours in the day. And it's impossible sometimes to do it, but I don't know. At the end, it always works out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Absolutely. And yep, you took my answer right there. I think that, just everything has priority. Of course, every file is priority. Everyone wants their loans to close. Everything is, it's important.
Yeah.
But when you have that times 30 or 40 or however many files you're working on, it gets, a little bit hectic, but it's all part of the job. Yeah. So you get it done one way or another. It gets done. It all gets done.
Yeah, we all know it's how the roller coaster goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's slow, steady, and then busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you get a little bit of break, but not that much.
Mm-hmm. Right? You roll with the punches.
Yeah. Sure. I tell people now, like it's funny because before I used to get so like freaked out when it gets slow. I'm like, fuck.
Now
slow.
you're enjoying.
Now I'm like, hell, I'm good. Hey, my phone ain't ringing. I'm about to go. I'm gonna get dinner or something.
It's time to regroup.
Yeah. You need that though. You need that break.
I think honestly, I say that, but then I still get that feeling. I'm like, okay, fuck, I gotta get to work. I gotta figure it out. And I think that it's a blessing and a curse when you're not busy. I think there's the biggest problem is when you're not busy. Obviously, you're not getting paid. So it's time to get back to work. But one of the most important things that I wanted to for everybody to see right during this podcast is just your experience thus far working with me. Okay, I've had, and to give everybody a perspective, I've had multiple processors, not because they hate me, not because they, or maybe they did fire me. I don't know. Maybe I had multiple processors because they have fired me.
Maybe
but
you just went.
But if I drive people crazy, but I want to get you guys' perspective, everyone, so that outside world could kind of see what is it like working with me as being one of your loan officers, and just dive a little deeper on how the process has been so far.
I truly enjoyed working with you, and one of the reasons why that is because you're very hands-on, but I like that when, I teach you something, you apply it to your next file, and I'm going to say, have not had the same question twice, like not very many times. So I like that you don't rely on people to get your job done. You have a very good control of your customers. You know what's going on with each file, and you are very, very organized, very dedicated, and it just it might inspire other people too, because everybody is like, well, how does Justin do it? I tell them all the time, he has Tuesdays updates every week.
Yeah.
And each file. Under each file, he knows, everything that is going on, who's responsible for doing what, and that way there is no confusion, no misunderstandings on what is going on. So I've enjoyed that part, working with you, that it's, I know that if, I say something, you apply it to your next file. And it's okay if you ask the same question twice, that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. Go ahead, your part.
I mean, I've been impressed with you since I met you a few years back. You were young, starting in this job career, and you took in that and you ran with it, and you've become very, very successful. And I'm impressed. I'm impressed by your work ethic. Every day you're on it. I mean, there's tons of loan officers, but you don't come across loan officers like you very often, who takes their job very, very seriously and want to learn, and not just loan officing. You process, you underwrite, you're even condo experts now. Like you learn it all, and you're really hands on, and that's really impressive. And I love that about you. If I need something, I can count on you to do, get it done.
Yes.
No question asked.
No, I appreciate that.
And you don't come by that very often. So
no, I appreciate
you're
that.
one in a million.
I try.
Yes,
I think it's definitely a hard industry, and I think especially when you're balancing for all the other loan officers out there, you're balancing family, you're balancing this business, you're balancing almost realtors and all the other referral partners that you work with. It's almost like other family members that are extended to a part of your business. So it's hard to kind of try not to let people down. And once you set that expectation, it's almost like your lady. Like you get your girl a Tiffany bracelet or a Cartier bracelet. The first day, that bar is to the sky.
It keeps
raising. And the funny part is I took Leilani to the Bahama trip, and I'm like, yeah, I set the expectation real high. So when she's older, she's gonna be like, well, you took me when I was 2 months old to Bahamas.
Where are we going now? Yes.
So it's the same thing and same principle with this business. It's like it can get overwhelming because you set the expectation so high. The first thing when I met all my realtors is like 30-day closer, we'll do this, we're this program, and you're honestly trying to win the business. It becomes a friendship, but you already set the expectation to where the sky's the limit. So I mean, for me, when I got in the business, it was Dwight kind of set that bar and expectation for me pretty high too. He's like, okay, you get to the office 9 o'clock, treat it like a 9 to 5, consistently do it every single day. And then it's kind of like, I felt like he always jokes that SEAL Team 6, but I actually think it was like some sort of military shit. Cause it was like 9, 5. If I got off
put
early,
your suit on.
right? Go to the office, put your suit on, dress up every day. I went to freaking March to go buy clothes. I didn't have anything. I was wearing jeans every day. He's like, no, go buy nice dress clothes. And so over time, when I got into the motion of things, it really kind of instilled, which I already almost kind of had, because a lot of my life I would play sports, baseball, all these things. So I already had that kind of regimen mindset. Wake up at 5. I lived in Bolingbrook, so I would go back and forth from Bolingbrook to Chicago.
You already had the discipline.
So that piece in my mind was always like kind of set in stone. So when I got into industry, it was a little bit easier of a transition. But Dwight like really drove it in my head. Like, and till this day, like if I don't get to office by 9 o'clock, I have it in my head. Like his voice in my head, like, what are you doing? Why aren't you in office? What are you doing? So it's like it's kind of instilled in me, and I think everybody needs that. But one thing that I want to see from your guys' perspective, could you guys ever see yourself be in our shoes, be a loan officer and go chase business? Is that something that you guys see ever in your guys' career? And Steph, you could say, do you see yourself here?
I mean, honestly, because I've been in different departments in, this industry, yes, I could see myself doing it. Now, whether I want to do it is something different. You know what I mean? Do I want to be a loan officer? Do I want to, have that? Because, it is commission-based, and all of that good stuff,
It's a lot of
so,
pressure.
yeah, and a lot of pressure, to be out there and, just that drive to find that business. It just doesn't come to you, you have to go looking for it. So do I want to be a loan officer? Not necessarily.
Right.
I respect your job to the fullest. But yeah, I think I would just do the operations part.
Right.
It's just for me. It's for me.
Yeah.
I've done it part-time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How was your experience of it?
I liked it. Yeah, I do like the, interaction with customers. But I wouldn't want to do it full time just because I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give it up.
Right.
But I've done it, and it's a lot of responsibility. And like you said, you don't want to let people down, or sometimes it's not an easy deliver a news and say, oh, we can't do your loan, or we have to wait, or you have bad credit.
Right.
Come back next year.
Right.
Yeah, that's the part that is hard. Like, but yeah, full time, I don't know if I would do it because I like what I do.
Right. And it's honestly a conversation that I think everybody should have. Not everybody is for sales. And what I mean by that is like, bro, it's at a portion of me is like, I look at my dad and my mom's life. A lot of times they still work. Obviously, they work a lot. They actually work a lot. But they're in more so of a 9 to 5, Saturday, Sundays off. And in those respective fields, like you kind of look at perspective.
Rest.
Right, like it's 7 days a week. You're going 24/7.
No, I
and
need my rest.
I agree, and that you kind of think of it the other way. You're like, all right, okay. Imagine if you got consistent income. You're there 9 to 5. Saturday, Sunday, you're off. You start thinking like, damn, that's pretty nice. But I don't think, me personally, I would like it though. I don't think I would. I'm always like,
you're very energetic.
Your personality.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like if I have a day off or if I don't have anything to do, I'm like, okay, I'll cut the grass. Or, oh wait, are we going to the store? What are we doing? We're going. And I'm just, I'm like that. But I think that it's important to have those both perspectives on everything because if I don't understand the wants and needs of you guys as well, that is for me something that I feel as if you don't have that, it's kind of like you don't mesh with your team, you know. And I think that's why I really enjoy it when we have team dinners, all those things, because you know, you get to talk the wants and needs of everybody, and kind of get deeper on your guys' own personal lives and everything. But how do you feel as if this industry has changed your guys' life, and do you guys see this is going to be like a forever path for you guys? Is this going to be forever career, or do you ever see yourself joining a different endeavor?
I think I've, thought about changing fields. But I don't know. I feel like in the mortgage industry, you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Your day is never the same. Day goes by really fast. I don't know if I could just sit in a desk and be like, "How can I help you?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could do it, right? And then I really like helping. So I'm not sure that if I could find that, satisfaction somewhere else. Not that there is, right? But I guess the things I like to do, I'm doing them now. So
Right.
obviously, if there's room for advancement, I would definitely do it. So that's why I'm doing these little podcasts, because this is outside my comfort zone.
That's the most important part, doing somebody's
right,
comfort
you have
zone.
to get uncomfortable, so I'm getting uncomfortable right now.
There you go.
Overcome.
What about you, Steph?
For myself, I think that, I started in the mortgage industry really young. I was only 19. I started as a receptionist for a mortgage company. And as kind of from there, I was like, hey, do you want to learn processing? Sure. Kind of one of those things. So I've been doing it since I was 19. I wouldn't know what else I would do other than mortgage. I mean, yeah, I've been in different departments, but it's all been in the mortgage industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So other than mortgages, I really don't know what else I would do.
Yeah.
Stay at home, retire, I guess.
No, I don't want to stay home.
I can't imagine anything else on a mortgage either, and I just began doing it.
Yeah, you just started.
Yeah, well, picture the story, my timeline. I was in accounting part 2. So imagine me at a desk, 9 to 5, like just sitting there in a cubicle where I'm surrounded by people, and I think it would be like 11 o'clock, and you know how we are in office. Like certain point in time, I feel like everybody in office has ADHD. Nobody ever just sits there and then for the whole entire day doesn't talk. No, picture that in an accounting office, in a cubicle, that's how it is. In our office, it's the complete opposite. By 10 o'clock, everybody's getting up. My uncle's going to go get scratch ticket. Delilah's cooking some, or Joe's cooking some.
Yes.
You guys someone's having a conversation. The Bonchicha's in office. Someone else is going over there. And it's a lot of craziness. But that's why I did not want to go in this field, because when I was with my dad at his company, I loved accounting portion because I love numbers, right? I didn't mind the numbers part. And like you said, kind of problem solving or moving numbers around to make the bottom line work for the company. All that stuff for me was like, it's interesting. But then you get to the point where it's 11 o'clock and you're like, all right, like, let's go grab lunch, or like, how was your weekend, or how was this?
Everybody's quiet.
And everybody's quiet. No one really wants to have a conversation. So I knew after a week and a half, I was like, yeah, this is not going to be the career for me. So I fast forward. I go talk to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't like accounting. I like the numbers part, and it's interesting to me, but I don't like accounting. So I got to figure out what career I want to do, because I was majoring in that and all that. So I fast forward, and she's like, oh, my brother works in mortgages. Like, if you want to try that. And I'm like, I don't even know what mortgages are, but like, I mean, I'm down.
What's a mortgage?
Right, what is a mortgage? So we go and we do the job. And the first thing that, the first week, we go for lunch to a Cubs game. And I'm like, is this your job? Like, you're going to a Cubs game in the middle of the work day? Like, yeah, the first day going to it. So, now the next week we go get sushi. I never had sushi before in my life. So, and this is during 2020 where it's really, really busy. And Dwight's going here, doing this, events, that.
Not the right year to start.
Right. So I see everybody. You see loan officers driving freaking crazy cars, doing all that stuff. You're like, man, this is the job? Like, this is the job everybody should join. I don't know why everybody doesn't work in this field. And so, you fast forward and you see all that, but then you see the market turn. And again, I think one of the main parts about my career that I could say is that I'm very naive to the market. So when I got into the market, I didn't know a good interest rate. I didn't know 3%, 2%. I really didn't know what a good interest rate really was. And then you see the market turn. You start seeing the news. You start seeing everybody that are in the industry getting out the industry, realtors, loan officers, insurance, people switching careers, doing these things. It's unfortunate. But at the same time, it was a blessing in disguise for me in my career, because I didn't know the difference between 2 or 7%. So it was just like, if you want to buy a house, I'm going to educate you. But I really didn't know the difference. And that's what helped me propel my career, because truthfully for me, I never really thought of it as a bad market. I just thought, well, I just got to work harder. I got to go market myself more. I got to put myself out there more. And it worked to my benefit. But now, you kind of look back and it's like, I think of it and I refer it to like the Bulls, right? The 96 Bulls, where, win repeats and everything, Michael Jordan, and the reason why I say that is because Michael Jordan had the best coach of all time. Okay, they refer him to as the best player of all time, and honestly, one of the best teams of all time. So everything had to play out, though, that way. The Bulls had to draft him. They had to get the best coach. Everything just honestly went the way that it did, and now, and historically, they're one of the best teams of all time. And I want to say that that's kind of how I look at my career right now. It's just everything lined up so perfect. Like, it just, I had the perfect mentor. I had my uncle. I have a perfect company. Like, I have great mentors and the owners of the company. I have a great team. I have people that I like to work with on a daily basis. I don't have no negativity around me. So when I thought of my goals, when I thought of everything I really wanted to accomplish, I didn't think that it wasn't unobtainable, because everyone around me was so positive. Like, everything was so great. So for me, it's like, oh, I want to produce X amount. It was like, oh, I could do it. And I think the number one thing I tell everybody that it changed my life, it was a book that I read, and it said it was by a singer called Russ, and he says, protect your goals. And that was the one thing that, like, it always stuck to me, because when you surround yourself with people who are negative, and the goals that you currently have, they might, frown upon them or say, hey, look, that's something that, I tried doing, I couldn't do it. So it's like, you're probably not going to be able to do it. Right. And it kind of makes you feel as if you're not able to do it or able to obtain it. And a lot of people try to kind of throw their own life experiences on your own goals. And that's the reason why it might make you feel as if you can't obtain the things that you want to obtain. So that's why for me, it's like, as soon as I feel someone that's negative, I try to distance myself from them. I'm still going to be positive. There's not one person that's going to get me on track of what I want to do. But the one thing I tell people is just protect your goals. Protect the things that you want to do. If someone tells you, distance yourself from them, now you go on to the next person that's going to give you the positivity that you need and make you feel like you're not crazy. And my circle's tight. The people that know the stuff that I want to do are the people that are going to be the closest to me. And I know they're going to bring forth the positivity for me to be able to obtain the things that I want to. So I guess for you guys, right, when your guys are in your upbringing, upcoming, and, getting to the industry that you guys are in, have you guys had that moment in your life where you might have had someone who's like, mortgages? Why are you getting the mortgages? What is it? What kind of career is that? Or, have you had that some sort of negativity, or people kind of question the stuff that you're doing currently?
I've had some people say, why do you do what you do? I mean, it seems like you work really hard, and those people don't have a life, and so sometimes raising my kids, it was hard, but I adjusted, right? I know, I mean, I made it work where I would get up earlier and kind of get things done at the house, so by the time I got home I didn't have to like start from scratch. So I don't know, sometimes I felt a little bit like criticized, and it made me feel a little bit guilty, because maybe some moms would get off at 3 or part-time, and but even though I was full-time and working hard, I never put my kids second. I sacrificed some of my time, and tried not to miss, practices, games. So I was able to balance, and that when I found out that that's, really the secret to everything, I've stopped feeling guilty because I was working full time and a half when it's busy.
But I want you to get a little bit deeper into that. So what do you mean by, when obviously that's important for every mom and everyone to know, when you're in an industry that can be a little bit hectic, and I'm sure every industry has their times where they're a little bit busier, but what do you mean by the guilt, the people that are talking to you about specifically that made you feel guilty, and specifically what time did you have to wake up to be able to adjust, and how did you overcome all that?
I felt guilty by being home earlier, right? But then my kids were always in sports, so we were really not home. So as long as I had, their uniforms ready, lunches ready, dinner ready, I felt like I was organized enough that it didn't matter if I was working, 9 hours, 10 hours. Um, and I forgot what the question.
Well, no, it's okay. I think that, like, because I think it's important. I want to really have, especially being Latina moms, like that for me is really important, because this industry is very time consuming. And I'll be the first one to admit it. It is tough. It's tough to have a balance. It's tough to, number one, be a mom, because I think right now the hardest thing about being a mom is, even for a younger generation. I don't know how much you guys are on social media, but that's one thing where perception is everything, right? You might see other moms at soccer games, or other moms preparing food for their fathers, or other moms doing this, other moms doing that, and you're sitting here like, damn, I didn't do that for my husband or for my kids, and you kind of feel guilty because all these things are perceived that way, right? But you don't know, first off, how many times they did that out the week. You don't know whether that was the first time out of the last 5 months, whether they did that or not. And the people that might be judging you might be casting all the self kind of like, they're not doing it themselves, so they're telling you, hey, look, you need to be there more for your kids, when in reality they're probably not there for their own kids. And I think that's where I want you to kind of shine light on, because you were probably more there for your kids than you give yourself credit for, but because the outside world might have given you that one comment where it made you feel like, damn, maybe I should be there more for my kids, and you made it work. So I want you to kind of,
I made it work. I mean, I did get up super early, and I even managed to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
I would get up at 4:30 in the morning, be at the gym by 5, be home by 6:15, and I would drop off my kids to school. I always prepared the night before for the next day. And then Sundays, I pre-made meals for, 3-4 days. So just, doing the same things every day, it just, helped me to continue to, be at work when I needed to be, because sometimes it was, mandatory 10 hours, mandatory, like I can't choose. Or the weekends, I would start, working 5 in the morning until 10, 11 by the time they were waking up. So I tried to always work around their schedule so they wouldn't, really miss me. I've asked them before, and they didn't notice I was gone, 10, 12 hours a day, because when they were home, I was home.
Right.
I was just not home, early enough to, like, prepare their food, and they walk in and it's already,
already done,
no. But I think that also has helped them become successful and wanting to, have their own goals, because they've seen, a mom that has worked, and, they have that, they've seen that a pattern. So I don't see it as, a disadvantage.
I don't think it was at all. I think you did a great job. You always adjust. You found a way to adjust, and that's the most important part about being a mom and a dad.
Now I look back, and I'm like, I don't know how I did it. Honestly, I don't know.
No more 4:30
No, no more 4:30 after COVID. Yeah. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now I like sleeping until like 5:30 or 6.
This ain't a difference, bro. It's the same shit. Well,
yeah, and then the gym seems so far from my house now.
You start getting cold outside, and you don't want to go or anything. But Stephanie, what about you? How have you had any negative experiences on the home mortgage industry?
I will say, for me, I'm complete opposite. I was not that mom that was organized and do all that stuff. I wish I was, because it would have been so much easier. But I was a young mom. I had 3 boys. So, and they were all in sports. So, and yes, I was working a lot of hours. I did miss some games, But I think for me, my close-knit family, like my little group, is very small. So I relied on them. My family was very helpful. My sister was very helpful. So the days that I couldn't pick up one and drop off the other one, or maybe I had to miss a game because I had to work late or whatever, it was all good. My kids didn't even notice, as long as somebody was there, someone took them, someone picked them up and dropped them off. That's all they cared.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was a little, crazy, it's just all over the place, working, kids, home, food, dinner, all of that. but you make it work. You make it work, and the kids are all grown and they're fine, and now I have grandkids and everybody's alive. So we made it through.
Nobody died.
Nobody died, and we all made it through. And you just kind of you make it work. But for me, I think it's really important to have that, that little group that you can rely on and you can call and you can that would support and just be there. It's important.
How far apart are your kids?
My oldest is 27, and then I have a 24-year-old and then my 17-year-old.
17-year-old.
So yeah, 27, 24, and 17.
17, so 3 years and 7 years.
Yes.
So how was that adjustment like for the gaps?
I don't know how people do it with all the little ones. Like for me, it was just I had some years in between.
Yeah.
So I didn't have 2 kids in diapers at the same time.
Yeah.
I didn't have all of that. So I think that if they were all little and just toddlers, it would have been so much harder. But the older ones help with the littler ones, and you make it work. Yeah, you make it work.
No, it's funny. I just had a conversation with one of my my peoples that just had twins, and I always tell my girl, I'm like, bro, the first 2 to 3 months of having a baby is the hardest time you can ever imagine, and you never
deprived.
really know. Oh, that's the part that you're like, you never really think of it. Like you don't think that it's gonna be that bad. You're like, okay, people talk about it, but it's not that bad. But then you go through it, you're like every 2 hours, hour, you're up, baby's crying, and then you gotta feed him. And then it's really, really difficult to get through that time. But I told my girl, I'm like, imagine if we had
times
twins.
2 or 3.
Like, then you go, you put the one baby to sleep, the other one starts crying, they both start crying, then you're just like, all right, you know what, I'm done.
My sister had twins.
I know, that's
and I took care of them a couple of times, not too much. I don't know if they had a wedding or something, so they slept over my house. I didn't sleep. It was like I fed one, and then the other one woke up, and then it was like all night.
Oh my gosh.
It was hard.
How far apart are your kids?
Mine are 9 years.
9 years apart? How was that? How was that adjustment from restarting? Because I hear that's the hardest part is when you have to restart after you got over it.
I enjoyed it. I'm like Stephanie. I wouldn't have had them back to back. No. So I enjoyed, my first one, 9 years, and then the other one came, and it was kind of like I'm a, first time mom again.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the whole process,
Mm-hmm.
of, buying the crib and everything else.
Yeah.
And my oldest was, already in school. So I feel like I was able to give them the time and the attention they needed without taking away from the other one.
Yeah.
And my biggest concern was, how's it going to be when they grow up, because they're so far apart.
Yeah.
But thankfully they never fought, because probably they have no reason to fight, right? Because they're so far apart. And now they're older and they get along. Yeah.
What do you guys think, Steph, you could start, what do you think your biggest piece of advice for working mommies out there would be if you had to give advice to people?
Give advice to working moms. I would just say again, just make sure you have some supportive, strong people in your circle. You know what I mean? Because it makes all the difference. You can't do everything alone.
Yeah.
And you just need, to have that support, and and it's important. And without that, it's just. You just need that family, that close circle. You just need to find your circle and that support and you'll be fine. Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Martina?
Have a big calendar. That's how I did, I kept organized by putting everything on a calendar, and it's really literally, and I still have one. The kids always knew what was going on. So if they had any questions, they would go to the day, and that's what's going on. Just, be organized, and, you can still be a mom and work. You can still be, an employee. You can still, you can still do everything everyone else does. But it's maybe at a different pace, maybe different things. But I think as long as you balance, everything works out.
I think it's difficult because I got a story for you guys. Like me growing up, for many years of me remembering, like my parents always, for somehow exactly like you said, you always picture your parents there. Like you never really, even though they were busy, super busy. I remember like vivid memories of me being at home and me falling asleep in the carpet while my parents are just like typing away working, and I just fell asleep and I wake up and like, oh shit, we're still here, like we're still working, you know, and they're still working. But I think for me, when the biggest story that I could tell you guys, and for you guys to kind of envision the type of support, is I would go to school, you know, Bolingbrook to Chicago. We'd go to CPS because the whole background story on my journey we were going to go, once we moved to Bolingbrook, we were going to completely be there and stay there for, you know, forever, go to school there, do everything in Bolingbrook. Unfortunately, my sister ended up getting leukemia. So when I think I was probably like 5 years old, and she ended up getting leukemia. And then I would say we were probably in and out the hospital every single day at Children's Memorial Hospital. It was like on Elston, and it was probably 2-3 years until she ended up being in remission, and everything ended up being resolved. Thank God. But you know, I think from that time period, we were supposed to be transitioning everything to Bolingbrook, but my parents worked in the city. My mom went to work. She was a CPS teacher, so she worked at the grammar school actually I went to. My dad worked downtown, so every single day it was from Bolingbrook to Chicago, wake up at 5 in the morning, go to Chicago, drop me off at my grandparents' house. My grandparents would take me to school. My dad would go from Bolingbrook, Chicago, then downtown Chicago to get out of work, pick us up from my grandparents' house, and then go back to Bolingbrook. So it was at least 4 or 5 hours of driving every single day. Doesn't drink coffee, you know, just day in and day out, just continuously grinding. Then it got to a point where I vividly remember going to baseball. My baseball would be sometimes in Algonquin. So we'd go Bolingbrook, Chicago, Algonquin to Bolingbrook. And it was like every single day. And it was day in, day out. My parents, whether it be my mom or my dad, doing that on a consistent basis. And I think for me is like, you know, I envision that I would want to be able to give that dedication to my kids, to whenever they're doing something, to be able to like say, oh, you know, I remember my parents doing this, and having that level of discipline, because now it motivates me to be that great of a parent, that great at my craft and my job, because it's like, you guys dedicate all this time to me. Now the only thing I could think of is on a daily basis I have to give it my all, because they gave it their all every single day for me to become the man that I am. And that's the reason why you guys see me every day. I feel like I owe it to them, and I owe it to my family right now that I currently have all three of them, because it's like, you know, what are you working for? And you want to show your kids and set that same exact example, so that way ultimately, which my overall goal in life is to create a bunch of leaders in life. Like I want everybody that's surrounded by me, that might be working for the team, that might be my daughters, my sons at some point, I want everybody to be reflective upon my journey and be like, why can't I do that? I have the ability to do that. He's disciplined, so can I. And create overall leaders in their respective fields, in just life overall, spreading positivity to everyone, because my parents showed me that, and I feel like I owe that to the world. And if the world can get that back, it's a successful life. And I always tell people my biggest thing that I want is when I'm old, I want to be on a beach. I want to listen to Frank Sinatra, called My Way. Watch there, just listen, drinking my beer, watching the waves, smoking a cigar, and just sitting back and relaxing and knowing and understanding that, you know, maybe 10, 15 people I influenced to just become better people, whether it be my kids or anybody around my team. But that's my envision of a perfect life for me. So.
And it's gonna happen. I see it. I see it for you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And now I guess one of your guys' biggest things, what was your biggest goal when you got into this industry? Do you guys, and whether it be in the industry or outside the industry, was it for your guys' kids? Was there something that kind of drives you on a daily basis, or what kind of gets you up on every single day to, you know, be the best person that you could be?
For me, you know, I was a young mom. You know, I was a young mom, and for a long time I was a young single mom. So I had to be the breadwinner. I had to, you know, make sure that my kids had a roof over their head and food in their bellies and everything that they had. And that relied on me, you know. So, I just had to think of my kids every morning. That got me up out of the bed. Make sure, like, I had to pay that rent. I had to, you know, make sure that, you know, they're taken care of. So they were my motivation, my 3 kids. They thought about them every single morning. Got up, did what I had to do, hustle, and make sure that I was able to take care of them. without that, who else would have done it? So
What advice would you give
yeah.
to single moms?
Work hard, stay focused, and stick with it. And don't let anyone tell you can't do it. If you want to try something, try it. If it's not for you, it's okay. Keep it moving and try something else. But yeah, for sure, just stick in there and stay positive.
I admire
Yeah.
single moms because
100%.
oh my gosh,
100%.
I sometimes need to move something. I'm like, I'll wait for the husband.
Got to build something? Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
No, wait.
I have to plant some flowers. I'll wait for the husband.
No, yeah, seriously, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I really don't
hard.
know.
It's
And
not,
it's true what you
There
say.
was no
It
one
takes
to do
a-
it for me.
I mean,
There was nowhere to wait for it. If I don't do
Yeah.
it, it doesn't get done.
well, it like you say, it takes a tribe to raise kids, number one. But like when you're
Mm-hmm.
the stuff around the house or certain things, you kind of rely on your partner, and if you don't have it, it's like you got to figure it out and do it
Gotta
yourself.
figure it out.
Until your sons grow up enough,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, son, go do it.
I'm pretty independent, but when it comes to like moving things or painting, I'm not good at that. So I have to rely on the husband.
So are you
Higher.
self-driven and self-motivated, or what wakes you up to continue to work hard every day?
I think a little bit of both, but obviously, I think for most people, your motivation are your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are my motivation. Um, Also, I have my dad that's still around, and we like to take care of him. So, yeah, my kids are my motivation. I don't have another one.
Yeah, no, that's all, honestly all you
Yes.
need. It's true. It really is true what they say. It lights a fire in your ass when you have kids like that.
Yes.
You don't have a choice, right? Like when I first figured that out, I didn't know. I really didn't know what people meant by that until I had my first kid, and I was like, wow, like this is a different side of life. You're not only providing for yourself, but now you have to provide. You have no other choice.
It's a given. Yeah.
You
There's
just,
no other option.
and you
Yeah.
see, especially when you start seeing that your kids start walking, you start seeing them say words, you start seeing that you're like, you're excited for the next chapter in life, and you want to be able to set it up to where they can have their memories, they have the things that they want, and the stuff that your parents were able to give to you. So that for me is super important. And you asked me how I wake up at exactly 4:30 in the morning. Why? Because I want to get home at 7:00, 6:30, so that way I could be like, I could be there, I could be present in the morning, because I know I'm probably gonna get home late, or I'm trying. Some days I might get home late, some days I get home earlier because I got home late. So it is really about trying to figure out the balance, trying to figure it out. I'm still learning, because if it was up to me, I tell people all the time, I'll be working 9 to 9, 24/7 every single day, because I'm just driven like that. I'm a very like focused person,
Yeah,
and when I get
there's
it,
times where you're able to do that, right? But now that
100%.
you have your daughter, you want to.
My point exactly. Now it's like it's different. It's a different experience. It's different, motives and what drives me on a daily basis. So for me, that's what was a big shift. And I think in a way, I'm spiritual. I believe in God. So for me, I believe that's God telling me, like, bro, slow down, enjoy your life. Like,
Yes.
this is important. Don't get me wrong. Everything that you've built is important. It's one of the most important parts about life. You got to make money in order for you to fend for your family and do all these things. But it's not everything.
It's not,
Because you have to figure
Yeah,
out.
work is not your life.
Well, Dwight always tells us, right? The most valuable thing that we have is time. And we can't, it's a non-duplicatable asset, and nobody could duplicate it. So that's why it's so important, because we never know when our time is up. So it's really important to just enjoy the times that we currently have and spend it like no other. So, but I want to wrap this up for everybody that's watching, and I want you guys both to be able to give a piece of advice, because I think, again, you guys are very strong, independent women. You guys have proven you guys extremely in this industry. You being that you've wore a lot of different hats in this industry, and you continue time and time again show out. I mean, Martina, you've been in this industry for 20 years. So I think for 20 plus years, but I think for people that, whether they want to be in this industry, or maybe they might be discouraged because they're a single mom, or maybe they have a harder time balancing life with their respective careers, what advice would you guys give to just all mothers out there, all Latinas out there, that whatever career path that they're in, how do you stay focused and how do you stay determined in any career path that they choose to be in?
I would say surround yourself with positive people, positive, strong people. When you surround yourself and you have those mentors, or, you look at someone and you can like, they got it going on. They got it together. And, you surround yourself by that, and you want the same things, And positive energy, it's infectious.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're around positive people, you just you feel it. You feel that energy, and yes, just strong. Just surround yourself with strong people, and stay committed. Stay committed, loyal, and committed. It'll get you a long way.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Martina, you?
Yep. Same as Stephanie, surround yourself with people that add to your life, not subtract to your life,
Nice.
that you can, sometimes relate, and not necessarily like, I don't have, friends that are just, you know, working women. I have friends that also stay home or semi-retired, and I learn something from every single one of them. Um, so I say, surround yourself with smart people, positive people, um, and learn everything that you can from each one of them. I have, a lot of friends that are single moms, and like Stephanie, like I always say, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. It's hard, and so yeah, it is. It's admirable that you were able to take care of your kids yourself. I mean, I cannot imagine the stress and having to provide and be mom, dad at the same time. It's hard.
Yeah,
So
it is hard, but like you say, you don't have any other choice. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess you have to do it when you
people
don't
that
have
are
a choice.
relying on you. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
you have to be strong, and you do it. You do it. So
But how proud of
thank
yourself
you.
are you? Like, to look back, you're like, damn, like I
I'm,
went through
I'm
that,
really proud of myself, but like we were talking about earlier, you got that mom guilt.
Yeah,
You always
yeah.
got that guilt. Like, should I have done this? Should I have done things differently? But I think that at my stage of life, I have no regrets. I did the best I could
Yeah.
with the knowledge I had and the skills I had at the time. So I mean, I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, you did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amazing job. Amazing job.
Thank you.
Now, I want to say well, to bounce back for what you said too. I think that's a hidden gem that a lot of people need to understand too. Is meeting as many people as you can, getting different perspectives, because you never know. Like you meet 10 different individuals. They all got different stories, and that's the beautiful part about it. Is you can kind of get a little bit more respect and appreciation to your own life through other people's lives, because you can kind of see like, oh shit, I'm not going through that. That person going through it. It's a lot tougher than what I'm going through right now. Even though your stuff might feel very draining, very hard on what you're going through right now, but this person might be a single mom that's working 80 hours a week at doing this and you don't see that until you have a conversation, and you can kind of appreciate the situation that you're in, or you could learn from it. Okay, maybe I got to take a step back. This person it seems like if they're enjoying life, and they took these steps in order to get there, so maybe I should kind of try to follow a little bit in their path and put my own spin to it. And I think that has been an important part of my journey, is again meeting people. And I think that's important for everybody, whether you're in this industry, any industry that you're in, that you have to meet as many people as you can and try to learn from other people's mistakes, because that right there is like a secret to life. I love talking to 80-year-olds. I love talking to older people, because you hear so many different things that they know, and it's beautiful to see. And they've experienced all of life. They've seen now in their lives, they've seen people grow up, they've seen other people's mistakes, other people's failures, and that's where you really start seeing a different perspective. Like, they saw different economies, they saw everything. So that's
Time
why
was
Probably other
different.
pandemic.
exactly. So I want to say thank you guys so much. It really do means the world to me for you guys being here.
You are
And
welcome.
it was definitely a pleasure and an honor having here, and everybody watching. Now you guys can see I'm not that bad of a boss.
No, not at all.
I'm not bad at all. But again, you guys are my right hands. I would not be able to do half the things I do on a daily basis without you guys. So I really do appreciate your hard work and efforts every single day, and I'm sure every other loan officer as well feels the same way. But if you guys did enjoy this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications on this episode and for all future episodes, so you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. But make sure you got your notepad, make sure you got your cafecito, and have a great day.